Hi friends. So in today's video I am going to talk about how to choose a career, and I'm not going to follow the usual path about passion versus following the money and so on. I'm going to talk about scalability and non-scalability and how these impact the fact that you have chosen a particular profession. So let's get to the definition of what is a scalable profession or a scalable thing. Basically, scalability means that whatever you get out of the system is not limited by whatever you put into the system. So, some examples of professions which are not scalable are where you actually need to be present to do the work. For example, if somebody is a barber or a dentist or a cook, then their presence is going to be required to do the job. You can't think of a person cutting your hair or working on your teeth or cooking meals without being actually present. So, in these cases, if the person wants to get more success, more money, more fame, he or she has to put in more time to get something out of this particular profession. Now, in contrast, you have scalable professions. For example, you could think of a writer of novels. You could think of people who act in movies and TV serials. You could think of researchers. Now, here the person essentially puts in work. He or she creates a particular creative content, such as a book, and then this is published. Now, the amount of work required to publish a book which sells 100 copies is the same as the amount of work required to publish a book which sells 10,000 copies or even 1 million copies. And therefore, the amount of success which comes to the person who works in scalable professions is going to be extremely non-linearly related to what they put into the system. So again, great success is possible in all these scalable professions. Now, how does this help us in selecting a career? Well, one thing is that if you want to be very sure of job, if you want job security, if you want a linear career path, then non-scalable professions are better. For example, if you are a dentist or a barber or a cook, then you are more or less guaranteed of your success because your presence is going to be required to do the job. There are going to be jobs for a plethora of dentists and barbers out there, and you are also not susceptible to the vagaries of global competition, particularly through the use of the internet. Now, this is where the scalable profession comes in. All the scalable professions do require the presence of some technology. So, for example, once upon a time, people used to write manuscripts, so that was one book. But once the printing press came up, you could essentially write one book and then print tens of thousands of copies. So, the profession which was non scalable became scalable. Similarly, there used to be people who used to play pianos or different type of flutes and so on. And when CD players or modern music methods came in, essentially you had one or two or 10 or 20 great success stories as far as music is concerned, and the same thing followed in the different professions. So, one of the things is technology, which essentially makes professions scalable. And of course, the flip side of scalable professions is that for only a few people who are successful, there are a multitude of people who are not successful in those professions. So it's very clear that many people go to the big cities where movies are made and try to become movie stars, but only a handful do become movie stars, and the rest of them are relegated to some different profession. So, this is a fact to consider whenever you are choosing a profession, and also the fact that the internet technology in general plays a huge role in making professions more scalable. So, for example, you have currently a huge number of people teaching calculus throughout the world. But again, it could be that a few people could make videos on this entire course content and it could be put out there. And then this profession itself, which is essentially non scalable, could become a scalable profession. So these things are going on all the time and you can see it around yourself. So you need to devote a lot of time to thinking about the scalability and non-scalability of profession. Think about how much risk you are willing to take, and if you are willing to take the risk and become famous, then certainly scalable professions are the best for you. However, if you are of conservative bent of mind, want secure job, then non-scalable professions are better. So if you are a dentist, you can be sure that you will get patients throughout your life, and it's very difficult to actually replace your job in the short run, and maybe to some extent even in the long run. So this was my view about some important aspects of scalability and non-scalability. These apply to systems in general and certainly to career choices. So I'll stop here. I will see you in my next video.